In 1870, a child was born inside the most haunted castle in Scotland. He was the heir to one of the wealthiest families in the British Empire. But after his first birthday, this child was never seen again. No grave, no death certificate, no trace. His own family managed to hide a crime, or a curse, so completely that the world forgot this boy ever existed. This is the story of a monster swallowed by the Lion family. Deep in the Scottish Highlands, there stands a castle that looks like it was built from a nightmare. For over 600 years, this castle has been the home of the Lion family, one of the most powerful aristocratic dynasties in British history. They are the ancestors of the late Queen Elizabeth II. But inside these stone walls lies a secret so dark, the family spent more than a century trying to erase it from history. To understand the disappearance of Thomas, you first need to understand the legend of the monster of Glamis. For generations, the family whispered about a dark secret, a hidden room within the castle walls. The legend says that a child born deformed, a monster, half human, was kept locked inside that room for his entire life. It was a spooky story told to scare tourists. But in the late 19th century, the myth collided with reality. Official records confirm that a baby boy, Thomas, was born healthy to the Earl and Countess of Strathmore. He was baptized in the local church. Family photographs from 1871 show a nurse holding a baby. In the caption below the image, the child is simply described as the Viscount. But by 1876, the child had disappeared from every family portrait. And this is where the mystery deepens. When the family tree was re-recorded in the early 1880s, Thomas's existence was completely erased. His younger brother, born 2 years after Thomas, was suddenly listed as the firstborn son and the rightful heir. This was not a mistake. In the official 1881 Scotland census, the family is listed, their servants are listed, but Thomas is nowhere to be found. The family offered a story to those who remembered. They said the child had died suddenly from fever. They claimed he was buried in the family vault. But here is the problem. In the United Kingdom, the Registration of Deaths Act of 1874 made it a criminal offense not to report a death. A sudden fever would have required a doctor's certificate and a burial warrant. For Thomas Lionbowes, no such certificate exists. It simply vanished. And then, investigators discovered the most disturbing physical evidence. In a modern castle, visitors walk past a wall in the main hallway. It is thick, solid stone. When renovation workers tried to check the wiring in the 1980s, they realized this wall had been built over a doorway. A door frame still existed beneath the plaster. A room that used to be connected to the nursery had been sealed shut with bricks. By the early 1900s, rumors were spreading through British high society. The family knew they had to address the gossip. They responded with 2 completely contradictory stories. First, they claimed the child had a tragic accident, a fall. Then, they claimed he had an incurable illness, a wasting disease. Which one was it? They never clarified, and they used their immense aristocratic power to make sure the press looked the other way. But the story took an even darker turn when a family friend, a writer named Augustus Heir, published a disturbing claim. He said that the family's own doctor had told him the child was a monstrosity, deformed, with tiny limbs and a huge head. According to Heir, the family locked the child in a sealed room, fed him through a small slot in the wall, and let him die there. Is that the truth? Maybe, but modern historians have a different theory. Look at the dates. The child vanished around 1874. That is the exact same time the Countess gave birth to a second son. If the second son was born healthy and Thomas was sickly or deformed, the family had a legal crisis. The inheritance would go to Thomas. An aristocrat who was defective would have brought shame to a family trying to marry into royalty. Did they simply eliminate him? The wall was not built to keep the world out. It was built to keep the crime in. And here is where this story stops being a local tragedy and becomes a state secret. In 1923, the daughter of the current Earl married Prince Albert, who became King George VI. She was Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, the future queen mother. She grew up in Glamis Castle after the disappearance. When she became queen, researchers and journalists who came looking for the monster of Glamis were blacklisted. Access to the private family archives was sealed indefinitely. When the queen mother died in 2002, historians petitioned the Scottish Records Office to release the papers regarding Thomas. The request was denied on the grounds of national sensitivity. Why would a child who died in 1874 be a matter of national security in 2020? Because the British royal family is built on an image of perfection. The existence of a hidden murdered or deformed ancestor shatters that illusion. So, who is Thomas Lionbowes? And what really happened to him? Theory number 1, the mercy killing. The family discovered the child had severe mental or physical disabilities. To protect the bloodline and secure political marriages, They quietly ended his life and sealed the evidence in the wall. Theory number 2. The rivalry. Thomas was perfectly healthy, but he died accidentally. Perhaps he was dropped by a nurse. To avoid a scandal during a delicate political time, the family buried him in the woods and made up the story of a fever. The second son was simply a convenient replacement. Theory number 3. The prisoner. This is the darkest one. Some believe Thomas never died as a child. They believe the legend of the monster of Glamis was true. He was hidden in that sealed room, kept alive by a loyal servant, and lived in the dark for decades. His existence was known only to the family, who passed the secret down from generation to generation. For over 100 years, the walls of Glamis have refused to talk. Do you think the truth is still buried in that sealed room? Or is it hidden in the royal archives, waiting for the day the British monarchy finally collapses? Let me know in the comments below. And do not forget to subscribe for more secrets that history tried to bury.